right, welcome back to Speedhack. So today's hack obviously is a little different. You can see here that I don't have my partner Kevin Fallon next to me.
I'm back here.
And that's because obviously we're keeping our distance due to the virus. That's one reason today's hack's different. The other reason is because this hack actually came from a comment that was on the Saucony one, right, Kevin? I think
Yes.
the Saucony hack that we did a while back. The one and only Kris Hartner made a comment. And for those of you that don't know, Kris is the owner of Naperville Running Company. Really well regarded, one of the best running shops in the country. He's definitely a thought leader within the running space. And he made a comment on that hack that, hey, why don't you guys take a Next Percent, because it has a plate, and mod it into a cycling shoe? Both of us, being the gear fanatics we are, thought that was a fantastic idea. So we set about to do just that with this hack. That kind of starts to beg the question of, if you were to do that hack and able to make a Next Percent into a cycling shoe, what would you actually use it for? What would be the purpose? So I'm going to switch places here, and Kevin and can talk about that.
So as Dave said, we're approaching this a little bit differently than our typical hack. This time we're going to take a product and turn it into a cycling shoe and figure out what it's good for. We'll speculate a little bit right now that taking this idea of a highly cushioned, high energy return shoe into a cycling product probably going to be best for cycling events and things when you get off and on the bike. So cyclocross, maybe a little bit of gravel biking, mountain biking as well. But very curious to see what happens when we take something so different in the road running space and put it on the trail on a bike. What's going to happen? First of all, can we successfully do this? And secondly, when we do, what does it do well and what doesn't it do well? So tactically, there's 4 things that we need to accomplish to turn this road racing shoe into a cycling shoe. We need to change the fit. Lacing really is not that accepted in cycling unless there's a cover on it. You've got risk of laces getting caught up in the drivetrain. So we've got to adjust the fit to be appropriate for cycling. So we're going to close this with a BOA closure instead. BOA is really good at mechanically locking you into a shoe, and it's well regarded in cycling. So we're going to apply a BOA to secure the foot into the shoe. We're going to do that by routing it underneath the foot through a Dyneema strap and really allow us to cinch ourselves back into the shoe and onto the platform. The second thing is the traction. This is a road running machine. We're going to be on single track trail or gravel potentially, so we think we need to improve the traction in the ground. That also, we could include the mounting of the clip-in pedals as well. The mounting of a clip-in is something that's universal within cycling, so we know very well how other brands do it. We need to adapt the plate that's buried between 2 layers of foam into a system that'll work to accept the SPD or other type of cleat. Then we also want to change, what was the other thing, Dave?
Protection?
That's right, protection. We need some protection for this shoe. The upper on the Next Percent shoe is very thin and very minimal. And while that gives it great lightweight aspects, we think we probably want a little more protection on the trail. So we're going to go back to the liquid rubber and probably give the toe area a bit of additional protection. So now we've got a plan for hacking the Next Percent into a cycling shoe. Take a look at this sketch of what this will look like when we're all done. So, this is going to be an interesting one. Let's get hacking. So we've completed the hack of the Next Percent shoe into a cycling shoe. Given the virus and the current situation, we're going to act as the rabbit for this hack. I'm going to take it out on the trail and see how it performs overall. We're going to take it on single track in Oregon. It'll be typical on and off the bike, rooty, a little bit muddy. This time of year in spring, we get pretty slick conditions, so it'll definitely be a good, thorough challenge for this product in a really different environment than what it was imagined to be used in. It was an interesting ride, for sure. Unlike any shoe I've ever had on a bike before in numerous ways. It was successful. I was able to ride the complete loop with this shoe on. The BOA held up just fine. We were having no issues with fit. It's a very different sensation, however, to have a mid-soled shoe with a cycling product. First time I've ever gotten off the bike and felt such a bouncy, lively feeling underfoot. And frankly, it was good. I was concerned that the next percent as a cycling shoe would be a little bit unstable in the heel when off the bike. However, this really didn't prove to be the case. As you can see with existing cycling shoes, they're already pretty narrow in the heel anyway, and this bounciness really gave a nice sensation when running and walking with the bike. So I enjoyed that part of it. You can feel the energy loss, I would say, or the springiness when you are pedaling. When you're doing your downstroke, you feel the foot displace a little bit into that foam, but it's such a lively feeling. And I think for mountain biking, because it's not a regular stroke, you are off and on and sideways in different positions, it didn't prove to be something that bothered me. Overall, it's successful. We made the adaptation of the Nike Next Percent into a cycling shoe. However, it wasn't perfect. The aluminum plate that we put on the bottom of the carbon to try to protect from cleats got too bent up and actually lapped over the cleat at one point, and I had to bend it back by hand. It didn't bond very well to the carbon was part of the issue. It wasn't stiff enough as well. It was too malleable. So I think the protection was the right idea. I think the choice of materials in this case and our method of bonding were the failure. Long term, I might be a little bit concerned about durability of this shoe. I don't think you'd recommend rushing out to buy a Next Percent to hack it into the next great cycling shoe. It would need some additional internal improvements. That carbon plate is pretty thin, and compared to what you see in a cycling shoe, I would be worried about the cracking over time. It worked great in the short term though, and was definitely a solid enough platform to make for an interesting hack and certainly a cycling product unlike anything else out there. So the hack was successful in that regard, even if we would change some things to make it work long term. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Speedhack. Stay healthy, wash your hands, and we'll see you next time.